Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And just by way of an update as what's going on with South African Airways, you need to know that I am now in email contact with them, and we're trying to establish a live stream with the spokesman of South African Airways and the whistleblower. So we can actually have them on together talking about the issues. What are the issues? Let me tell you, for those of you who haven't been following this story, on the 29th of September, I released a video which exposed some very dodgy behavior by the CEO of South African Airways Technical, Adam Vos. And as a result of that, on the 4th of October, South African Airways responded in a press release. Now, I will put links to both of these pages online, so you can have a look at my original video, and you can also have a look at South African Airways' response. And the response was as follows. South African Airways Technical and its parent company, South African Airways, are aware of an unfortunate YouTube video linking the new Chief Executive Officer of airline maintenance subsidiary, Mr. Adam Vos, to a helicopter accident that occurred in 2011. The video is not only defamatory but contains claims that are factually baseless and untrue about South African Airways and South African Airways Technical and Mr. Vos. South African Airways Technical and South African Airways find it disconcerting, disturbing and distressing that the YouTube video narrator opportunistically made comments insinuating that Mr. Vos may have been complicit in the events that led to the helicopter accident. It is difficult to avoid the conclusion that the video was produced to slander and impugn the reputation of Mr. Vos and to damage the image of both South African Technical and South African Airways. South African Airways and Mr. Vos are exploring all options, including legal action, to get the video expunged from circulation. South African Airways has investigated and verified certain claims made in the video and is satisfied that the appointment of Mr. Vos, who joined the airline on the 1st of July, followed a recruitment and selection process provided for in the company's human resource policy. Mr. Vos brings a wealth of technical aviation experience gained from working in senior executive engineering and maintenance positions around the world at prominent companies. His extensive and demonstrable track record of delivering sustainable results, effective and leading turnaround situations, has a strong quality, safety, commercial and profit-oriented motivation. His appointment at South African Airways Technical is intended to enhance executive capacity to deliver on the turnaround plans. Once a YouTube video surfaced, Mr. Vos voluntarily provided factual perspective and context to adverse claims made against him. The fatal helicopter crash was operated by 2 pilots and occurred 2 years after Mr. Vos left the mining company. The contracted helicopter company for the mining company was furthermore different to the helicopter company with whom the mining company was contracted during Mr. Vos's tenure. Also claims in the video that South African Airways has reprimanded its pilots for reporting snags are without basis or merit. Pilots are trained professionals who know and understand their responsibilities and legal obligations in terms of civil aviation laws. It is wild speculation to suggest that South African Airways pilots operate an unworthy aircraft and that they are labelled as racist when snags are raised during pre-flight aircraft inspections. South African Airways has a zero-tolerance approach towards racism and will take steps immediately against anyone within the company who is racist or makes racist slurs. South African Airways is subject to regulatory audits conducted routinely by independent regulators in the industry in all markets where South African Airways operates across the world. South African Airways has recently been audited and found to be fully compliant, hence South African Airways continues to fly in all markets it serves. Okay, that all sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Not so much, because since that press release was issued on the 4th of October, things started to come apart at South African Airways Technical, which is the department we're talking about here. First of all, we had the allegation that was not made by this YouTube channel, but was made in several online media and in several papers in South Africa, that bogus and untraceable parts have been used in airlines serviced by South African Airways Technical. And that's happening right now, according to the reports by independent newspapers. And it's so serious that the police, or Hawks, are now investigating South African Airways Technical. That's a fact. That happened just a few weeks ago. In fact, just days after that press release by South African Airways. And more recently, in fact, only in the last few days, there have been allegations that sign-off of maintenance and parts by South African Airways technical staff is being undertaken by people who are not qualified to do so. And the further allegation is that these unqualified staff could be involved in the placement of bogus parts in planes. Now, let me tell you where this becomes complicated. There are a lot of airlines that have had their planes maintained by South African Airways Technical over the last 20, 30 years. Who knows when these allegations of bogus, untraceable parts started being placed in aircraft, and who knows which aircraft those bogus and untraceable parts are in today. It could be a plane flying from London to New York. It doesn't have to be just here in South Africa, because when a plane flies into Oliver Tambo Airport and it gets maintained by South African Airways Technical, that's when a bogus part can be put into the plane. This is the issue facing South African Airways Technical. This is a huge problem. And as I said, I have written to Mr. Tlali Tlali, who's the South African Airways spokesman, in an email, and I have invited him to participate in a live stream with the whistleblower who has further information which will comprehensively prove that Adam Voss, the CEO of South African Airways Technical right now, is personally responsible for the helicopter accident that killed 10 people. That goes back to when he worked for Newcrest. And we have all the evidence, we have all the emails. What they're trying to do is push this one under the carpet. Now, when someone does that, because they're trying to cut costs and they're trying to cut corners, they kind of take that attitude with them wherever they go. And what you're seeing right now in South African Airways, in the last month, and I've just set out just a couple of the points, there might be a lot more that's going on that we're not aware of. And it's very interesting, because what has happened now is that Comair, which was one of the airlines that was directly impacted by this use of unqualified people signing off on maintenance, have now taken their maintenance contract away from South African Airways Technical. This is hot off the press, and I'll tell you what they're saying. Comair, the profitable JSE-listed airline business with one of the local industry's worst on-time departure records, is laying the blame at the door of its service agent, South African Airways Technical, and is moving much of its major maintenance requirements offshore while it waits for official approvals to set up its own workshops in cooperation with German carrier Lufthansa. The announcements made in an open letter by CEO Eric Venter on Wednesday came just after Finance Minister Tito Mboweni announced plans for yet another serious shake-up at South African Airways and revealed the state would continue to support both the national and carrier and South African Express financially. Now, there you have it. Comair. no longer want anything to do with South African Airways Technical. And I think the suggestion that delays is just a nice way of saying, hey, we don't trust you guys. I just wonder who is going to be next. Because remember, there were other airlines that were also really inconvenienced by this shutdown by, it was actually forced by South African Civil Aviation Authority earlier, well, a few days ago. And as a direct result of that, nearly 50 planes were grounded at OR Tambo Airport until they'd been cleared. And this is a really serious situation. As I said, there could be bogus parts on the plane that you're taking flying anywhere in the world because they landed at Oliver Tambo Airport and someone there signed off on a bogus part, which basically could be life-threatening to anybody on that plane. This is incredibly serious. It's rather like catching the flu. You know, you walk through a shopping center and someone walks past you and, you know, you get the flu bug from them. You don't realize you've got it until you find out 4 or 5 days later when you start coughing. Now, think about it in that way. That's what it's like. There are planes out there right now that potentially, based on what happened with Mango Airlines, with that allegation of a bogus part, there are other airlines that could potentially be having bogus or untraceable parts which are not authentic, thanks to South African Airways Technical. Now, these allegations, I didn't make them. These have been made in the papers this month against South African Airways Technical, which, as I said before, is why the Hawks are currently investigating the operation. It's that damn serious. Now, as I said to you at the very start, I have issued an invitation to the South African Airways spokesperson, Mr. Tlali Tlali, to discuss this on a live stream on my Loving Life channel with the whistleblower, who is very happy to participate. The ball is in his court. I sent him an email this morning. First thing, he's got the email, I know that. I have had no response from South African Airways yet. Now, the other airline that has been impacted by the issue with the sign-off of maintenance, of course, was Kulula Airlines, which is associated with British Airways. I wouldn't be surprised if they're the next ones to say, hey, we don't want anything to do with South African Airways Technical. And one can understand why. This is a hugely serious issue, guys. And just for the record, aviation and corporate legislation dictates that the accountable manager takes full responsibility for everything under his or her control. And that person at South African Airways Technical is Adam Foss. And look, I've got nothing against Adam Foss, but what I am concerned about is the safety of people using planes that have been maintained by South African Airways Technical. Because we don't want one of them falling out of the sky, do we? Alright guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video, please share this video, and above all, stay safe. Bye for now.